Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we'll be taking a look at DXS02 Shinkalion E6 Komachi from Shinkansen Henkei Robo Shinkalion the animation. Bit of a mouthful there, but it's a really cool show. Obviously this is the second Shinkansen to kind of join the team. We started with E5 as kind of the main character, was the first robot we saw in the first episode, and then E6 joins a little bit later on. And this guy's color scheme is primarily red, and his weapons, whereas E5's was a sword, this guy's got twin blasters, which are pretty cool. Really love the artwork here on the front of the box. You can see the pilot down here in the corner. Here is the Shinkansen in train mode, and then of course the robot mode. And then you get the little pass as well, the Shinka Pass right here. Side of the box is really cool. I love that kind of gold lettering on the black background. Looks really sharp. Here's a picture of the train, and then the Shinkansen Ultra Evolution Institute. This side of the box just kind of shows the toy itself, the train transforming into the robot. And then on the back, I guess I should show the top too. Again, just a picture of the robot and the train. I believe they're the same. Yeah, top and bottom of the same picture. So once again, looking at the back, you can see the kind of middle car has weapons storage capabilities, just like with the E5. And then it shows how the guns have two modes, kind of a smaller blaster mode and a longer blaster mode. And then you can use the pass with the Shinka gear, which of course we'll take a look at. And you can do a link gatai, which of course we'll take a look at as well, since we now have two trains to demonstrate that. So very, very, very cool. But yeah, that's going to do it for the packaging. Go ahead and get them out of there, and we'll take a closer look. So here is the Shinkansen out of the packaging, all put together. Weapons all stored inside. We'll take a look at that in a second. Here is the pass that it comes with for the E6 Komachi. Nice picture of the robot head there. A little QR code going on. As you can see, it is translucent as compared to the one that came with the Shinka gear, which was a solid opaque red. So very cool there. I'm going to put that off to the side, and we'll check this out later with the Shinka gear later on in the video. But yeah, very cool. I would say that this train is almost identical to the E5 as far as the toy goes. I know that the actual design of the train is different, but it transforms pretty much the same. It has the three pieces. They hook together very similarly. Color scheme obviously is very different. Red is primarily the color scheme for this one, as opposed to the green for the E5. Rolls very well. It has these little connectors so that it can go around tracks, because it does work with the plow rail system. The little connectors here just kind of clip, and this connector is kind of a little bit difficult to get undone, but there we go. So this is the piece in the middle. You can see it has the little JR symbol there. So these are based off actual Japan Rail trains. And this section opens up. And you have these two guns, which peg together, but then obviously work separately, and they're all stickered up already. So we're going to put these off to the side for a moment, and we'll come back to them in robot mode. And this is the little crest, which we will take a look at this time, because we will do the link gatai later on in the video. So we'll take all those accessories out, close this back up, and then that's pretty much it for this for now. So going to put this off to the side, and we'll focus in on these two pieces, which will be the two pieces we will use for transformation. I always think they do a good job of not really having any robot kibble underneath. Pretty nice. So let's go ahead and get into the transformation. So we'll start with this side, because this will become the lower part of the body. Like I said, it transforms almost exactly the same as the E5. You're going to split this in half like you did last time. This will come down, click there, and then bend back. And then it does have that articulation, so if you would like to bend it, forward or backward, I kind of just like to keep it just kind of level. You're going to come to the sides here, and these panels will flip up and then fold against the body. And there's a double hinge there, there's 1 and 2, so you have to bend it on both hinges. And then you can see they are pressed up against the body there. You're going to clip the little connector piece up. You'll take the whole foot, and I'll get a little bit closer so you can see how this works. Take the whole foot, you bend it up, and click it into place there. Then this whole section will come around, and as it does that, this will slide up. So as you bring this up, you can see it slides that panel up, and then it clicks into place. So you do the same thing with the other foot. Bend it back, click it into place, bring it forward, click it into place. Make sure this is pushed all the way up, so that'll stay in the heel, kind of buried in there, which is nice. And then you can tilt the ankles. And I love how the feet kind of look like old-time samurai sandals. You can see they have the wooden sandals. That's what it kind of reminds me of. They have kind of the thongs there for the toes. It's kind of funny. So the other thing you have to do, obviously, with the knee is just kind of bring these joints down to straighten out the leg. And there you go. You are pretty much done with the lower half of the body. Make sure these panels are still pressed up. There you go. That is your pants, or legs, as you'd like to call it. Coming to the top section, this will split down the back. This will kind of hinge out, and you can see that there is a big tab right there, and that's going to tab into this spot right here. I like to kind of bring the arms down before I tab it in. I find that it pegs in a little bit nicer if those arms aren't in the way, so I bring it about halfway, then bring the arm down, and then bring this up, and you can hear it snap into place there. Going to fold the fists out of the forearms, very simply, and then this piece will fold in and store very nicely in the forearm there. This piece will fold out to the back. This piece will come down, and that'll kind of initiate the head transformation. And then I don't know what's up with this. These kind of get stuck, I guess, because of how the head is. But bring that in, and then you have this connection port will connect to this. So you just go ahead, snap that on, and there we go. We have the E6 Komachi. I think it's funny because the two green eyes, to me, especially when you look like this, they just look like his eyes. But obviously he has real yellow eyes there, so we'll bring this up so you can take a look at the head sculpt. In the show, these goggles go over his eyes, almost like night vision goggles to help him aim better with his guns. The toy unfortunately cannot do that, but he's got real nice, these faces always kind of remind me of like a Gundam or something. Like the eyes look good, got the face mask going there. So very, very cool in that regard. Articulation-wise, very similar to the E5. Really nice ratchet joints in the shoulder there, as you can hear. You have a swivel inside the shoulder. You have a bicep swivel. You have pretty much 90 degrees in the elbow. Nothing really in the wrist because it folds into the forearm. And then you have two knee joints. And then you have a little bit of an ankle swivel. And then the head is on a ball joint as well. Now, because of the way they transform, these guys kind of like wacky wobbler heads, unfortunately. They don't lock in, but you can still get, the ball joint does still work for the head. You just kind of have to, not so much front to back as much as you'd like. I mean, it can mostly do to look up, but not so much to look down. It just kind of pushes the head into the chest. But overall, he looks great. I like it a lot. The red color scheme really works. They've done a great job with the paint scheme. Everything looks nice. So bringing in those weapons from previously. Now these supposed to have two little cannons. And if you're familiar with the old versions of the Shinkalion toys, I've done a review of a couple of them. I never had the old version of this guy. But back when they were auto transformations and the shoulder deploying, oops, I forgot to push this back in. When the shoulders would auto deploy and it was all spring loaded, and you've probably seen this in some of the other videos I've done, the shoulder had a really thin joint right here because it would just kind of fold in, and then the spring loaded piece would push it forward, and it was a really thin, like this part of the shoulder was the same, but this joint right here was very thin. So back when they were really thin, this clip right here was meant to clip over that really thin part, and that's how he would use these in the shoulder joint. Because on the show he does this too, where he'll use these as shoulder mounted cannons. So that's what this clip is from. Basically, and they did the same thing with the E5, they used the same accessories from the old mold. They just kind of either, remolded them in new plastic or painted them differently, whatever the case. But it's the same molded weapon. So this clip is meant for a joint that no longer exists on this toy, but as a side effect, it makes it so that it cannot be held by the robot, because this clip, which again, you can no longer use for anything, does not fit in the forearm. Now, I can't remember the old version, because like I said, I didn't have the old version, but I don't know if there was like a spot in the forearm that was recessed so that these could fit, or they just said, always just hold it like this, because you can turn it to the longer version, and then he can wield it no problem. It's just with the shorter version, which I kind of like on the show. I like when he uses the shorter version. I wish he could hold it. But unfortunately, that clip just hits the forearm. Now, you can tilt the forearm or the fist in a little bit so that they're kind of on the inside. It kind of works, but it does look a little weird. I wish they would have kind of paid attention to that or figured that out before they released it. But what can you do? Unfortunately, there's just nothing you can do at this point. So you can have him, of course, use the longer versions of the cannon, which still look good. But I really liked the shorter versions too, and I wish he could wield them. It's kind of a bummer. So you can, of course, peg those in. He's got two long blasters, which look good. And as I talked about before, you can put them in the shoulders, because he does that on the show. But instead of the thin joint for this piece to clip onto, you just take the handle, which you would, just like you would in the hand, and you just peg it into these holes. He's got little peg holes on his shoulders up here. And you just peg them into there. So I think that looks cool. I like that. I wish, like I said, I wish they would have remolded the weapon, or even just done a whole new weapon or something. Because I do think, again, it looks better when it's pushed back a little bit. It doesn't hide the face as much. So the clip is basically where you would want these to attach. You just can't do it because the shoulder joint's been remolded. So unfortunately, there's just really nothing you can do about it. But I still think the figure's good. I still like him a lot. It's a little bit of a bummer with the guns there like that. But that's really all there is to that. I'm going to go ahead and bring in E5, and we'll check out a Link Gatai. So I have the E5 and the E6 here, and the Link Gatai is very, very simple. You just take the torso off like you're going to transform them back into train mode. And then you just swap the pieces, and you drop some pieces. It's not important, it's just a sword. Put that off to the side. So there we are. You just switch the pants. You take the crown and you put that on the head. And basically how this works, if you can see here, there's tiny grooves on the side of his head. And this piece just literally slides right in there. And then you have the head with this pretty cool crown piece, which I think looks really cool. Sorry, I don't have the green crown piece handy. I forgot to bring that over, but it would look similar. You would put the green crown piece on him, and it would look very similar to that. But yeah, I think it's cool. I think this is a really neat function. I mean, this was definitely something the original toys boasted about as well, being able to switch the pants and everything. But they didn't have the crown piece. So I think it's cool with the addition of the crown piece, just to kind of bring in that other pop of the other color into the torso. It makes it feel more unified, which I think looks really cool. And then you can give them the weapons, or technically you could even put I guess you can put the smaller cannons like this if you like it better like that. So you could do that. Because luckily those clips don't get in the way of the shoulder mounted. So yeah, I kind of like that better actually. I kind of like the smaller cannons for the shoulder mount. Because then it doesn't hide the face so much. So maybe we'll give the sword to this guy. So he doesn't have all the weapons. But yeah, I kind of like the smaller cannons for the shoulders there. I think that works better. So now we'll take a look at the pass that's included with the Shinka gear. Go ahead and pop it into the pass. Very cool. That really has nothing to do with what pass you put into the... I guess they're both called the pass. I'm going to call it maybe a Shinka ticket, Shinka card, and this is a pass. I don't know. Everything's called a pass. In any case, the new Shinka card I put into the pass, and now I'm going to... I guess first I'll do... Get some train sounds going. Now it wants me to transform. The jingles are really cool. I love them. So we'll do the final attack. So there you go, final attack. And then just for fun, we'll use the E5 card to do the Link Gatai like we just looked at. And then we'll do the final attack. I still think it's weird that this does the Keisatsu sword, even though this is supposed to be the Grand Cross. Weird. But yes, that is the Shinka card that you get with this release for E6 Komachi. Another really fun release in my opinion. I'm going to have to say that the E5 is probably better in my opinion, only due to the fact that this guy has the little kerfluffle with his weapons. I know it's not a huge deal breaker. It's just kind of a bummer that they didn't have the foresight to remold the weapons when they're remolding everything else. I mean, the figure itself is great. I think it's a fantastic figure. Like I said, it's very similar to the E5 in transformation and everything like that. So it's a great figure, and I love it. I just wish they would have fixed the little gun snafu. It's not a huge problem because he can wield the larger version of the gun, but I just wish he would have been able to wield both because those clips are for a part of the mold that doesn't exist anymore, and it just a little short-sighted. I guess they just kind of missed it on their part, but... So yeah, it's still a great figure. I just think if for some reason you could only afford one, I would say go with the E5 over this one just because his weapons are all great and beautifully painted and everything, and he can wield all of them. So not to put this one down, I just think the E5 edges him out by just a smidge. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I want to hear from you, so sound off in the comments below. Like the video, share the video, please subscribe, all that good stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this look at DXS01 Shinkalion E6 Komachi. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching.